If you love scoring amazing hotel deals, you've got to use Hotel Tonight. I've used them. I love them. Forget scrolling through never-ending list of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at cool hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you could book in advance, not just at the last minute. It's perfect for spontaneous weekend getaways, 3-day weekends, staycations, road trips, business trips, booking a place with a pool, and more. Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. To start scoring amazing deals at incredible hotels, go to HotelTonight.com or download the app right now.
Great news. There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to Geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Stugotz here. Listen up, people. We have a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take up too much of your time. You know our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to podcast.study and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. I promise you. I'm not lying this time. Again, that's podcast.study. Please do it today.
Billy.
Talk about Lewis Brinson's big game the other day?
Oh!
No.
3-run bomb. By the way.
Is he back?
Oh, he's back. And I'd just like to say this. I would like right now for all of you who were critical of us and our Lewis Brinson All-Star campaign.
Preach.
All of you out there who are saying he's an elite talent, Joe Frisaro, all of you out there who are saying how great he's been this month, I would like an apology for all of you who didn't see it when we saw it. That's all.
Riz McGiz.
That's all I want.
Yeah, add him. Riz McGiz.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm just saying, everybody was saying how mean we were being to Lewis Brinson when we said this guy's a future All-Star. Let's just make him an All-Star right now and get this thing started. Because, by the way, there are players like, Cal Ripken Jr., who was an All-Star every year of his career.
There's a cough going around.
Who didn't need to be an All-Star every year of his career. But everybody knew this guy's so great, like Lewis Brinson. Everybody knew this guy's so great that they made him an All-Star every year.
Good comparable.
And I just like to say that we were trying to get that thing started from the beginning. Sure, he started off a little rough, but this guy's an all-star superstar. Everybody sees it.
Yeah, playing really well. I actually did want to give
Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Well, no, I wanted to give you the platform to brag about being right about something. It wasn't really Lewis Brinson, though. I think your Frank Gore Pro Bowl.
Oh, man, I nailed that one.
Is off and running.
I nailed that. Why am I standing? I nailed that one.
He looked
That is
good.
so, random. And one weekend.
I was at camp. I saw it.
One weekend.
Yep.
You appear to be right. Man. Gashing the Tennessee Titans.
Brightly.
A victory Monday in Miami. Hurricanes win. Dolphins win. I'm not sure which team is better, Tennessee or Savannah State. Whew. Man, that was bad from Tennessee. But you injured the quarterback, but I think that game was in hand. There was that phantom holding call, but I think that game was in hand.
I mean, you could make the argument they lost their three best offensive players. Taylor Lewan, Delaney Walker, and Mariota.
You could make the argument that you are absolutely right. Those are their three best players. They lost them in that game.
We're lucky they lost them, I think.
Hey, man. Dolphins O-line.
Yeah.
Dolphins O-line.
Yeah.
You saw it in camp.
Yep.
Josh Sitton's big as a brick house.
Why are you clapping again? Why do you do this?
Because I'm excited for you Dolphin fans, man. This is a big time win. Now you look at the schedule, 3-0, 3-0. You can beat the Jets in New York, right? You can beat the Raiders, right? This is exciting. Ryan Tannehill, look what happens when you give him a clean pocket. Look what happens.
But having said all that, they scored 20 points because the 7 of them came on a kick return. The offense scored 20 points. The defense, I think if you're playing against their elite players in the second half, that might look a little different. It's exciting. I'm happy the Dolphins won, but if I'm not like sitting there thinking, oh, we're going to the playoffs. Like this is, I feel the same way about the Dolphins that I felt before the game.
I feel like the Dolphins could be one of those fraudulent 10-6 teams that find their way into the playoffs after week one, because to be one of those fraudulent teams, you're going to need to win these games, like Tennessee won these games last year. Look, I was reading Pro Football Focus, and I think your season's going to come down to how clean of a pocket Ryan Tannehill has. They had this stat. When Tannehill played in 2016, he had a 116.6 passer rating when he had a clean pocket to throw from. And it was a lot worse when it wasn't a clean pocket. Under pressure, 49.1. Offensive line did a great job outside of one unchecked blitz that I saw in protecting Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill threw an absolute beauty that hit Kenny Stills. For one game, I feel like we got certain answers as to where you're going to replace the production of Jarvis Landry, because Kenny Stills absolutely stepped up. He was a deep threat, you always thought. I like seeing him underneath. This is exciting. Roy, aren't you jazzed?
Oh, I'm enthused right now.
I was so pissed yesterday. Sorry, this is going to be selfish. I was so pissed yesterday that Delaney Walker got injured because he's my tight end in fantasy.
That was a bad injury.
I was pissed off at the holding call that took away Henry's touchdown. Can we get like a mulligan in football where like you can get rid of one penalty a game against your team that you don't want?
You should be able to challenge penalties.
Kind of like the red flag. Like if I don't want that penalty, boom, I'm using it.
No questions asked. You can do whatever you want.
What color would that flag be?
Yellow's taken.
Yeah, yellow.
Red's gone.
Red's taken.
Maybe black.
No.
Why are we going primary colors? Why can't we infuse some sort of secondary,
let's not do this again.
maybe even tertiary?
I feel like if we do green and it's too close to the yellow, there might be confusion.
But
and it's
teal.
How about no? Like, because orange is close to red. And white might get lost in the lines.
Yeah. Green in the field.
Keep thinking about that. Can we talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick, by the way?
If we have to.
Good.
Man, this kid looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's so impressive to see a DB make a tackle in space when a running back's going on the edge or skill position players going out on the edge, because I guess I've gotten so used to, as being a Browns fan, players actually missing those tackles. Minkah Fitzpatrick, don't try to run past him. He's going to bring you down. It seems every time. He seems like a veteran. That's always been the book on Minkah Fitzpatrick. Even in college, everyone said as a true freshman, this guy seems as though he's been here forever. That guy, absolute stud.
Yeah.
Way to go. I think you nailed that draft pick. I know Greg Cody was mad they didn't take a quarterback or take a dynamic player.
Weren't you crushing that pick too at the beginning?
Well, I didn't understand. Because the Dolphins appeared to have a lot of holes in the offseason. I feel like we have common ground there, right, people? They had a lot of holes, and Minkah Fitzpatrick was a player without a position. But over time, maybe the coaching staff in the front office knew what they were doing in drafting this player, because you absolutely saw the need for Minkah Fitzpatrick once it was out there on the field. And you added him to a secondary with Rashad Jones, who still seems like a Pro Bowl caliber player, making big plays for you. Xavier Howard, doing not the greatest challenge for Xavier Howard, though that Tennessee team is incredibly limited, especially when you lose your three best players.
But in the first quarter, their offense was moving the ball at will. Like, I'm still a little nervous about this defense. Yes, Minkah and Rashad Jones. Like, you could probably say a top 5 safety duo right now. But overall, the defense, I'm still a little nervous about this defense. If we were facing a good offense, or if we were facing the Titans starters, yesterday could have turned out a lot differently.
So blue, I don't want it to be blue though. What if it's something like sparkly, or
like a silvery, glittery?
Maybe.
Ooh, just throw confetti. You have a pocket full of confetti.
I feel like the confetti might be confusing because anyone in the stands can throw confetti.
Anyone in the stands can throw a flag, Bill.
That's true.
Are you upset that Kenyon Drake out-touched Frank Gore? 17-9. Only 9 Frank Gore
Gase always doesn't know what he's doing.
They combined for 100 rushing yards, though. That's what you need.
They were gashing him, and the game really changed once they sort of established their running game. And here's what Adam Gase needs to do this season. The offense simply just cannot be bad. He's an offensive-minded coach. The defense, I think you lost Sue by choice. You could have continued to pay Ndamukong Suh. I know you invested the first round high draft pick in Fitzpatrick, but no one's really looking at that defense and sees a top tier defense, right? It would be a huge surprise. You've made the choice to cut loose Jarvis Landry in trade. You cut loose Jay Ajayi. You've reworked, you invested some picks in your tight ends, and you've reshaped that offensive line. If Adam Gase is this brilliant offensive mind that he's reputed to be, the offense needs to at least take care of business. And an offense that put together, 27 points for you. 20, understand, that you got some points. But that was a solid offensive game, even though they had a really bad turnover in the end zone. Malcolm Butler, a bit of an uneven game for him. Yeah. That was impressive to see Kenny Stills play so well against Malcolm Butler, I thought.
Yeah, and Tannehill looks confident. Like, even on he had 2 picks, and even on those, like, his face, he's walking off, like, he's confident. Like, that, I want him taking those chances. You need him to just let it rip, and he's looking as good as he did in 16.
But Roy, I know Tannehill is always going to be this polarizing figure, but it's a lot different than seeing his face out there than that puss on Jay Cutler's dome.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy that Tannehill is out there right now because Cutler was.
It's such an upgrade. It's such an obvious upgrade. He's not Aaron Rodgers, and we'll get into that.
Yeah,
because I always love the Sunday night primetime games or the Monday nighters that live on. The regular season games and usually postseason moments live on.
Oh, yeah.
It's rare. When a regular season game, Derek Thomas had a Monday nighter to remember. Brett Favre had a Monday nighter to remember. That Aaron Rodgers performance last night on one leg, where he's often throwing off his back foot, and the Packers at the end of the game don't even run kneeling plays to run out the clock.
Are we getting to it now then?
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and do that now. Way to call me out on that. But it's so impressive that the Packers can't even call kneeling plays because of the shape of his lower body. And he's out there throwing dimes. Even that pass to Cobb, and I know Cobb had the long touchdown run after the catch, but it was just all made by Aaron Rodgers' footwork and pinpoint accuracy.
And he was the second most impressive thing in that game.
Oh, Khalil Mack.
Oh, my God.
Khalil Mack. Dude, did you know that Khalil Mack was this strong, too? Maybe it's the Raiders uniforms and they're a little slimming. I didn't know. It looks like Khalil Mack put on about 35 pounds of just pure muscle. That dude is absolutely terrifying. It was an all-time Khalil Mack performance in an embarrassing loss in which they blew a 20-point lead. How about that Aaron Rodgers, though? Billy, how mad are you at Aaron Rodgers for keeping you up last night?
I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers. I think that...
he loves you. Remember, you're his favorite on the show.
I don't think we're close enough to say that we're friends because we haven't really...
Friendly.
What's friendly? He knows your name.
Friendly.
You know, I saw him when I went to the Daytona 500. I saw him down, like, in the pits, and he was, like, next to Danica, like, by her car. And I was thinking, like, should I say hello? What should I do here? Because he kind of knows who I am, but, I'm sure people are all the time. Yeah, but here's the thing. There was so much security, like, between us and him that I wasn't going to be like, Aaron, and waving over. And it was a thing at the time because they had just, become public a little bit before. So there was a lot of attention on him. And people took Packers stuff that he was signing. He seemed very nice. But I wasn't going to be like waving like, hey, Aaron, I think you know me. Hey, Aaron. So I didn't do it. What were we talking about?
Man.
Oh, if I was mad at Aaron Rodgers?
And if you were mad at him for being amazing last night and keeping you awake.
What was the first thing you guys thought of when you saw that injury, though? If you're just joining us, Aaron Rodgers led a great comeback. He went off in a golf cart in the first half. He hurt his knee, came back, led them down 20 points, I believe. They won by 1 point.
First thing that went through my mind is, man, Khalil Mack, what a trade. Already winning this game, might win the division. Aaron Rodgers is out because of just dodging bodies. And then he went into the blue tent and he rode back in the cart. And I was like, damn it, not so early in the season, please, because this is my second favorite team in the NFL is Aaron Rodgers.
I thought of Dan.
Really?
First thing I thought
of. Dan was done with football for a portion of time. I can't believe he came back. That did not. How was he allowed to play football?
He shouldn't have.
He shouldn't have come back.
I was tired. I wanted to go to sleep.
Oh, for you, he shouldn't have.
Yeah, he shouldn't have. I saw on Twitter that people were speculating, and I was faked out by all the things saying, oh, he has ACL, UCL, this, that. He's going to be out 14 weeks. And I'm like, man, that sucks. I have him in fantasy. I know you guys care about my fantasy team, which is why I keep bringing it up.
So much.
So I thought I was going to have to find a new quarterback, and I was looking for quarterbacks. And then all of a sudden he comes back in the game, and I'm like, man, it's like 10 o'clock. I want to go to bed. And that was up like another hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, if you need another quarterback, don't get Mitchell Trubisky. That dude is so inaccurate.
He looks like Tony Romo with a helmet on.
A little bit. Whiter Tony Romo.
What do you guys imagine John Gruden was doing in his living room when Mac started dominating? Like, honest, if there was just a camera just on him,
I imagine, and this was a huge talking point on social media, I actually thought they kind of got a haul. It was that weird second-round pick that they were giving back for Khalil Mack, but Khalil Mack looks, anytime
he
you
just
have...
strips the quarterback
That play, dude, oh, man.
He's such a beast.
Well, and Deshaun Kaiser is not. But Deshaun Kaiser was looking over for like 3 minutes. Deshaun Kaiser was looking like, hey, he's learned from Aaron Rodgers. I was like, okay, another Browns lost project that's actually going to end up paying dividends for somebody else. But Khalil Mack,
I mean, it was great timing too. Like his stat line looks so incredible at the the interception, it was just luck. Like the guy was trying to throw it and he just happened to throw it right at.
It's not luck because it's really not luck because they're diverting blocking assignments. Khalil Mack is just an absolute menace on the side that it's opening up other things for other pass rushers on that team. So another pass rusher gets to the quarterback and Khalil Mack ends up with the ball. Just an absolute freakish looking human being, this Khalil Mack. I want to watch Bears games all the times, but their quarterback is infuriating to me. Trey Burton had 6 targets. I had him on my fantasy team, and I know you care about it. None of them close, except for one. There, all these passes in the tail end of that game, there were crucial passes, and he had receivers with separation. He just totally missed them. We're talking Packers-Bears here on the local hour?
We're moving around. I got more. Oh, Le'Veon Bell. Was he rooting against the Steelers yesterday?
He was rooting against Connor, no doubt. Did you see the emoji that he put after the monocle emoji? One of my favorite emojis. And then he had to reply because everyone was hitting him with, why are you shading the Steelers after that? No, I've just never seen a tie to start a season before, which he's right. I think the last tie was to start a season. They put up the graphic during the Browns game, 1971. Dolphins at Broncos. I believe Greg Cody was 10 years into his Herald career back then covering that game.
Didn't Des Bryant spend the entire Sunday trolling the Cowboys as well?
Des Bryant needs to stay off of Twitter, man. He really does. Yeah, everybody went there and he delivered on what he was supposed to do. But Des Bryant, first off on Twitter, sort of shading the Browns, and then they get on Hard Knocks and desperately wanting to be on the Browns, essentially setting up his own meeting with John Dorsey with a tweet. I don't think Des Bryant's hurting his case at all. What actually helps Des Bryant's case is that performance from the Dallas Cowboys receivers yesterday. But let's get back to the Dolphins real quick, because I expected Kenyon Drake to be the star of the show, and he was okay. He was okay, but Frank Gore Day is today.
Yeah.
Frank Gore from the U. Billy's prediction of Frank Gore making a Pro Bowl, still alive, and not only alive, thriving. If Kenyon Drake goes down, Frank Gore, this spry-looking youngster, seems well-positioned to make it all the way to, where is it? Is it not in Honolulu
Orlando,
anymore?
maybe.
Is it in Orlando?
I think so.
You know who also had a decent game? Not great production, but he had his moments, Fast Albert.
Fast Albert. What's this celebration
move,
that they're doing with their hands? Stills and Fast Albert were sort of like shooing people away. I couldn't tell if it was like a hula dance at first.
I was thinking like it's like a move it along the chains, like get those chains going that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, the tie-in between those two, they're not just receivers, but they're also the two players that took a knee during the anthem. Have you noticed how subdued that's been? I kind of wonder if the NFL has sort of told their broadcast partners, hey man, don't even pay attention to it. Don't even really mention it. I think this whole thing will go away. And yesterday was the first time I kind of felt like, hey, I think we're finally past this whole situation. I think everyone's kind of tired. But Kaepernick posted a photo of Wilson and Kenny Sills taking a knee, and he thanked them for their bravery. It's not an easy thing to do. Kenny Sills, to his credit, has always taken out the time to explain his side of the situation to anybody who disagrees. I think Kenny Sills is a tremendous spokesman for this cause. Even better than, this might be a hot take, even better than Colin Kaepernick, because Colin Kaepernick has had several public missteps along the way. I think Kenny Sills has sort of articulated his point better than anyone who's actually doing these protests. I can't believe we're still here, but maybe something's changing with the general reaction. Maybe we're just tired of it, like you're tired of hearing my voice.
Did you know ADT can design and install a smart home just for you? A new smart home at your service, customized for your lifestyle. ADT professionals can even show you how to use your new smart home features. Now, that's what I call warm-up service. It's all controlled from the ADT app or the sound of your voice and backed by 24/7 protection. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more about how ADT can help keep your home safe and smart.
Don Le Batard.
Stugotz remembered today that 790, the original incarnation, one of the options was 790 the Shark.
Yep, it was. Yeah. The ticket, the ball, the shark. And I think the wave, 790 the wave was also another option.
I think 104.3 the squid was another option.
Stugotz.
I mean, think about that. 790 the octopus. Rocking your puss.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Why did I break down that Dolphin game talking about Ryan Tannehill's clean pocket? That game was an absurd viewing experience. There is so much to discuss outside of the actual game. I want to rip Sunbeam Television and WSVN, not just for that performance, but really, Roy, you feel me on this. There isn't any bigger enemy of the South Florida sports fan locally than WSVN. You want to watch the second part of a big doubleheader? Nick Saban's a good one. But forever, you've never been able to watch a big NFL game that's part of the doubleheader on Fox because Steve Shapiro's out there doing post-game coverage for the Miami Dolphins. I understand they sell that. But Sunbeam Television and the reruns of Matlock, just because their owner actually owns Matlock, and he's found a way to game the system to get royalties for re-airing a show that he owns. Sunbeam Television is the worst. And I may not put this on Sunbeam Television, but WSVN, you deserve fire from local sports fans just for a lifetime's work. What the hell? Full disclosure, I, like many of you, maybe fell asleep during lightning delays. We had a big weekend in Washington, D.C. at the Hume Gerhard wedding ceremony. You were flying back from Washington, D.C. yesterday, and because of the delays, you've only missed 5 minutes of actual game time
I think
in that Dolphins-Titans game.
The Lightning was catered around my schedule. I watched the first half of not the first half, up to the first delay, which was like 1 minute left in the first half. Left a bar in D.C., went to the airport, hopped on a plane, got home at 6:45, and I believe I missed 5 minutes of game action.
It's unbelievable. But
it was perfect.
Towards the tail end of the game, Mariota's out, Blaine Gabbert is playing, their crucial phantom holding calls. There's all this excitement, and Ryan Tannehill is under center. You're trying to ice this game against the Tennessee Titans. He hands off to Kenyon Drake, who has a wide lane outside, bounces it outside, and Fox's OT. Kurt Menefee is talking to me.
Hard network out.
Hard network out Kenyon Drake. It looked like he was going to run for 50 yards untouched into the end zone. And then real quickly, we're off to the season premiere of Rel. What in the Rel? What is going on here? How does this happen?
Was it a malfunction, or did someone at Fox say, this game's over now, we got to hit our series premiere?
Are there execs over at WSVN? No, we need to see Rel. What happens in that scenario? Is there a national... Maybe people have written about this and there's been an answer. I saw Chris Whittingham on Twitter sort of theorize that there's a national TV window.
Right.
But this game, which started at 1 and was the longest game in NFL history... when you take into account all the delays, and let's be real, the way that those teams play football, it might have still been the longest game in NFL history, even without the weather delays. Which another thing about the weather delays, Bill, down here, I flew in early. The weather delays made no sense. Because everywhere else in Miami, it was kind of nice. I was in Pembroke Pines.
I love all the people on Twitter being meteorologists. They're like, I'm looking outside and I don't see lightning. No. It's like they have machines that do this. Like, I trust the machines more than Ethan Skolnick looking outside his window.
I trust looking out the window because that's what we did back in the day. We looked out the window, one little lightning bolt, 15 miles away, and we hold this game up. And I don't even see the end of it. I watched Rel and said, thank you, by the way, Fox, for realizing that was a mistake and coming in for the final snap. Right. I appreciate that.
You think that there was someone running down a hallway, right? Like panicking, like, no, the game's off. Like in some office somewhere at Fox, they're like, get the Dolphins game back on.
Did any of that seem like there was any sort of panic? It took forever to get back to the game. I was shocked at what the score was when it came back from Rel. I wasn't following on Twitter. I was flipping back to Football Night in America, hoping that they would give a final update, and I hit previous channel. It was still Rel. I did that twice, and then I saw the Dolphins celebrating a victory. How does this happen? Does anybody have an answer for me? Has anyone asked Sunbeam Television?
You know what? This has happened before. You remember if you remember, this happened a long time ago. The Raiders-Jets game, they broke away earlier to show a movie called Heidi.
Heidi?
Heidi.
I remember the Annie. No, was it? There was a Shirley Temple movie one time that was an infamous. It happened during an NFL championship, which is pretty much an identical situation between Titans and Dolphins. But Rel, instead of a Dolphins victory that many in this town don't take for granted because few and far between. You want to talk Canes? Can I talk Canes now? That's been. Are you proud of me? 24 minutes, no Canes takes?
Yeah, good job.
Before you go, can I hop in here with something Canes related? What do you think the score of the Canes game would have been if I was the quarterback for Miami?
This has been an absurd conversation.
If I'm quarterbacking for Miami, we win the game.
Yes, clearly.
This is so stupid.
Billy.
The two of you were doing this before the show,
We
like
absolutely-
idiots.
the Canes
and you
absolutely
think
win.
that you... No.
24-7 they win. We
win. People, just so you're aware of what exactly the scenario is. Not only is Chris, for whatever reason, playing in the first game, he had a week to practice with the Hurricanes. So this is their game plan. It's for them to bring in Chris and have him be quarterback of the Hurricanes. And by the way, he's passing in his fantasy scenario.
A couple passes to running back.
Well, Chris
sweeps.
And he doesn't think he's going to get hit and injured also. That's also something that you're not taking into account. Just so you know, this whole fantasy scenario where Chris is quarterback, he doesn't get touched, he throws the ball, and they still win.
If you're just joining us, Savannah State lost.
Just joining us.
They lost to Savannah State. Lost.
I don't think anyone's just joining us at this point.
No one's just joining us.
I think at this point, exactly. At this point, you're like, if you're still with us, please.
The Canes had 77 points. Savannah State had 78 yards. Okay, they're winning if I'm quarterback.
No, they're not.
Yes, no, they win.
When's the last time you played a sport, Chris?
Like last week. I played
No.
Billy.
Like high school is the last time. You can't just go in 12 years later, 13 years later, and be a quarterback of a college team and think you're going to win.
But we established with a week's worth of preparation and game planning, we established that Chris is just handing the ball off.
No, he thinks he's passing
Chris
still.
is saying that he's going to call audibles at the line and check out.
I got like 3 pass attempts. One of them's an interception. One's a little sweep completion for a touchdown to the running back, and then one incomplete pass. 3 passes.
You're going to screw up the timing a couple times on the handoffs. We
Every
established
time.
that. You think every time?
Yeah.
Chris Cody can hand the ball off, man.
No.
You don't think?
Keep doubting me. Keep doubting me.
Guillermo, do you really think that the Miami Hurricanes will lose a game with Chris Cody at quarterback?
They're not.
When the game plan is just, let's run the ball.
He's going to get hit and he's going to fumble it every time he gets hit.
How is he going to get hit? You think Savannah State's going to destroy the line in the half second it takes for him to hand the ball off? Come on,
Chris
man.
strike you as someone that's like on his feet, like decisive, like boom, boom, boom? No, he's going to get hit.
He's
going to
fast.
fumble the ball. Oh, okay.
He's fast.
All right, we agree. We'd win with me.
Yeah, 70,
you got
but more points probably. 107-0.
What do you think of this new turnover chain?
Well,
It's hideous.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I think it's actually kind of cool looking. If maybe I'm a rapper that represents a 305, it's actually a much cleaner piece. But I love the U. DJ Williams is pissed, by the way. How upset is DJ Williams? Made a fortune charging insane amount of money for this plastic U chain, and now they've come out with Sebastian the Ibis. It looks cool, but I like the U. Yeah. I'm old school. Get that out of here. Make it some different type of chain. And, well, actually don't make it a different type of chain because all these programs around the nation are now trying to do turnover chain ripoffs. That FSU thing is pathetic.
That can't be. That's real?
The turnover backpack.
Turnover JanSport?
That's sad.
Turnover backpack for FSU as they hold on for dear life against Samford.
Not Stanford.
Samford. FSU almost lost to Samford. What is that backpack? Why secure the bag?
What's in the backpack?
Willie Taggart may be packing up that backpack because this FSU team is terrible. Not as bad as Malik Rozier is on certain passes, though. Miss a wide open Jeff.
And Kosi Perry.
And Kosi Perry had a bad interception. Had a really bad interception directly to a Savannah State linebacker. But I think what Kosi Perry did was excite the fan base enough and give you something and give Mark Ricks something that... Remember, Mark Ricks is a kind of coach that will pull the plug on a quarterback. Everyone's like, this guy defends Malik Rozier and he'll never bench him. He benched him against Pitt for Evan Sheriffs. You've seen something now with Nkosi Perry that gives you hope that if you go to Nkosi Perry, if Rozier is struggling, he can, or Rozier.
He has said that he regretted that move, though. Rick, he has said
Sheriffs
that
was terrible, right. But he was looking for a spark. Rozier was booed. That kind of felt bad. He was booed and heckled by the Canes fans early on. So was Fiegels, Zach Fiegels, the punter.
I mean, you're feeling bad about that?
I don't feel bad about Fiegels. I don't feel bad about. I feel bad for Rozier because Rozier's Rozier. Rozier's Rozier. He's inaccurate. Brevin Jordan, the tight end, the freshman tight end, had a big game. 3 touchdowns. Mallory had a touchdown too. Your two-headed monster at freshman, which didn't really show out against LSU, even though they were wide open and Rozier missed Jordan, especially in that second half. They finally started to pay dividends for you. And you see Brevin Jordan, that guy's an NFL player. Brevin Jordan shaded.
He's the one that spoke out after the game and
shaded Rozier.
Yeah.
He said about Rozier and Perry, man, Perry throws such a nice spiral. I don't have to adjust my body. It just hits my hand and I go in stride. Where Malik is a good passer, but I have to contort my body and change it because it's not on the money. Getting shaded. Malik Rozier has already gotten his degree. Okay, Malik Rozier is a KG veteran. This is a true freshman in Brevin Jordan. And I know, and he diluted it somewhat.
I love them both. Love Rozier. Love Rozier. That's what he said.
Yeah, he loves them both, but that's an awful amount of shade from a true freshman to give the graduate senior quarterback. Weldon got away with what should have been an interception, and then he ran for a touchdown on a keeper.
I would have liked to seen him more.
Williams didn't get the ball up a lot. I think the stat line that I saw, we were at a wedding, the stat line that I saw is he threw 3 passes, completed 1 of them. So he can appear in 3 more games before you have to make that red shirt decision. But Lingard, the 5-star running back.
What a run.
Homer's been disappointing this year. He's had a bad game against LSU, wasn't given a lot of opportunities, fumbles early on against Savannah State. Lingard is every bit as electric as he was touted to be in the recruiting process. The runs, and I know it's Savannah State, the runs there, the highlight level runs, this guy looks like an NFL player, and I think he should be playing this year. Chalk Gray shouldn't be playing. Lingard should be getting those touches. So after the biggest win in program history, 77-0, your Miami Hurricanes surged up the AP top 25.
You guys feel bad when you see that? Like, it's kind of rude
Savannah
to destroy
State?
teams.
No, I don't feel bad about it.
Well, they're playing like third stringers in the second and third quarter.
Yeah, they played 4 quarterbacks.
Is that good sportsmanship?
So what should they do?
I don't know,
The
but
game
just
should
rubbing
end.
it in their face.
The
Yeah,
University
why don't you have a mercy
There should be a
rule?
mercy rule.
Because you're just doing it
rule.
you're just doing it to make your ranking better. When you got embarrassed after the first week.
There have been games before that end early. I don't remember the scenarios though. I remember college games like where they've stopped.
I think there was a University of Miami game that there was sort of a running clock that was instituted. The University of Miami and major college football programs do this. The SEC does it cupcake week late in the season and get that out of here. No one wants to see that. There's no preseason in college, so I like seeing it early on. Week 2 is fine. Week 1, if you're not playing one of those national TV games that gets your program a lot of money against an LSU, I like doing it then because you can essentially use it as a preseason game.
Do you think the team's good now? Like, as a result of that?
No,
like,
no.
You think anything? What's the point of that game?
Well, the point is to see your depth and to see the kids.
But against a team that's not good.
No, and Savannah State is not only is that a bad team from a bad conference, they're getting moved down to D3, I read. The University of Miami does this. I guess they get a little bonus points because they always try to seek out historically black colleges to give them the big paydays as opposed to, I don't know, the Citadel. That's the only positive. And you get a win. But it's cool to see your teams, hit them with a beat them down, I think. 77-0, that's pretty cool, especially when Samford is putting the boots to FSU.
Miami wins that game if I'm at quarterback.
Absolutely, dude. 35 points.
Billy,
he's just handing the ball off. He is just handing the ball off.
That's what it is now.
Billy, let's go outside after the show. I'll pitch you the ball.
You're going to play against
Savannah
Savannah
coordination.
State.
No, you don't do pitches. You just hand it off. No, don't do pitches. Because pitches turn into you running the option.
I think you just in pads would be really clumsy.
That'd be funny. Funny visual.
Wait, you in pads? Yeah. I think you could run the option offense, and that's not what we're doing.
No,
we're putting it, maybe fullback dives is what we do for an entire game against Savannah State to get an easy W. But we shut him out. Unless he turns the ball over.
No chance.
Nah, they get 7 points. If I throw the ball 3 times, one of them's a pick.
I mean,
because once we're up 40-0, they let me then throw one.
You're not going to ever be up 40-0. How would that happen?
Because we run the ball.
Yeah, we run the ball. Lingard.
Pick sixes.
Lingard. They won 77-0 with Malik Rozier, who, Chris, I've seen him throw a football. The accuracy is comparable.
A wedding is a beautiful thing, as long as it doesn't fall on a Saturday during college football season. Those Saturdays are reserved for the union of two rivals, a celebration of fans coming together to trash talk one another. At Buffalo Wild Wings, we believe that a wedding planner needs to own a football calendar, and our bars are full of beer-drinking, wing-eating fans who agree with us. Unless you're secretly trying to cut down your guest list, then kudos on the great strategy. Buffalo Wild Wings. Escape to football. Please drink responsibly.
Dan Le Batard.
Strap it on here, Dan. I'm going to take you for a ride. Strap yourself in is what I meant. Not strap it on.
Strap what on?
I meant strap yourself in here, Dan.
Stugotz.
Listen, it was a poor choice of words, poor phrasing, but I meant strap in because there are several big words coming up in this last story. Don't strap anything on.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Tell me if anyone else felt this way, because I know a lot of you are tired over the last 15 years about my urinating on happy occasions around here. The Dolphins are 1-0, and I guess a lot of you would probably like me to say, period. I felt watching that first half yesterday, and I just want to know who else has felt exactly this. When they went into the half at 7-3, and it was excruciating. The whole half was a cesarean section, lightning delays. Awful. Awful if you're a fan. You know, at the end of that, the Dolphins can't expect anybody to still be in the stadium. At the end of all that. There were a lot of people who braved it, and their support the Dolphins should value, because it's not exactly like they've earned it over the last 15 years. I'm telling you, I'm watching that first half yesterday, and what flutters over me is I've seen this half already. I've been watching it since Jay Fiedler and A.J. Feely in the first game against Houston. How many years ago was that? How many years ago was that? Again, with constipations all over the field. That said, in the second half, a football can't be thrown better than the one he threw to Kenny Stills. No one's ever thrown a football better than that. I know what Aaron Rodgers did later that day
except to Geronimo Allison on one leg.
Right.
That was better, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you're not too much of a prisoner of the moment. Imagine that, the greatest pass you've ever seen, supplanted just hours later.
Poor Tannehill. I mean, didn't last long for him.
I'm saying it's not possible to throw a football better than Kenny Stills wasn't open. Kenny Stills wasn't open. Rodgers his guys are never open. Nobody's open for him. Nobody.
Perfectly in stride, 50 yards in the air. And it was an amazing pass.
Well, let me ask the audience though, okay? Because I'm the urinator. You beat Tennessee's backup quarterback. How you feeling about that? Mariota wasn't in the game. It's Tennessee. Tennessee is the definition of tepid. It's a weird game because of the lightning.
Mariota was dreadful, though.
Uh-huh.
I mean, wasn't very good.
No, I understand he wasn't very good, but neither was Aaron Rodgers in the first half yesterday, and then the second half he was something else. I mean, still Mariota. You still rather have him in the second half than anybody else if he's healthy. Anybody on that team, I mean.
And they didn't just lose Mariota. Chris pointed this out earlier. They lost their three best offensive players in Walker and Lewan as well.
But Walker was later. The game was already largely over by then. No,
but still, they lost the highest paid left tackle in the league, I believe. That's a lot for an already limited offense.
Yeah.
And Walker was in there on that. You got lucky with that holding call. You got really lucky.
Ryan Tannehill basically makes this the possibility of 8-8, 10-6. If he's hurt, that's not going to happen in any way. That's the high end, though, if he's healthy, because he's an above average quarterback. You could not like him. You could be frustrated with all the Dolphin deficiencies, but he's an above average quarterback. The numbers say so. He's not pedestrian. He is not average. He is better than that. So you've got a chance to be a playoff contender if he plays at that level that he was playing at.
Well, if the offensive line can continue to play like that as well, because they ran the ball. I mean, they did a very nice job running the ball, both Frank Gore and Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, and they protected Ryan Tannehill coming off an injury. That's important, but Ryan Tannehill specifically, the gulf between Ryan Tannehill under no duress and under pressure, the quarterback ratings bear out that you're going to want to protect that dude. There's a huge load of NFL teams that could finish 6-10 to 10-6, and to finish on the high end of that, you're going to need to win games like that against teams that are also in that same grouping, and they did that yesterday.
That's good analysis. How many of you were laughing at what happened, though, and this was a terrible pass by Ryan Tannehill, with Mike Gesicki? First of all, if you're watching the Dolphins and you're just, let's say you haven't paid any attention to anything Dolphin related, and then you're turning on the television, and now you've got Mike Gesicki, who you're throwing to on a fade, and I know he's 6'6", and I know he's got a big vertical leap, but he looked so clumsy. It looked like throwing a pass to me out there. And so Malcolm
Gronky is not.
They expect big things from this dude, physically big things.
And to be fair to him, there are times in the preseason where he looks like an absolute freak.
But what was that? What was that? So that play was as incompetent as any I saw yesterday. This is a game I want to play today with you guys. Remind me to play this game.
What things cost?
2 minutes. Get out of here.
Oh, wow.
How many people did you discover yesterday that they were on a team? Because that right there is where I discovered that Malcolm Butler was on the Titans. Now, it's not going to happen to fantasy guys. It's not going to happen to offensive players. But I'm wondering, like Janikowski, how many of you discovered yesterday that Janikowski was with the Seahawks?
Oh, man, that's such a funny fit on that uniform. There has to be a better cut for a uniform on a person. Cordero Patterson, New England Patriot, found that out yesterday.
I had no idea. Yeah. I'm just learning now about Janikowski. I watched football all day, and I didn't know.
I'm not even sure I'm right.
Oh, really?
You are.
Okay. Good job.
But that's a fun game. I want to open up the phone lines and play that game. Just who did you discover was where yesterday? I just discovered that Cordero Patterson's a Patriot.
Ryan Switzer.
I don't mean yesterday. I mean when Stugotz said it.
I think Mike said it.
I said it. That's fine.
Yeah.
No. I didn't discover it then. I only discovered it when he repeated it.
Oh, the follow-up.
I'm used to it. It's my existence. Ryan Switzer, tiny UNC wide receiver that tortured the University of Miami. He got drafted by Dallas, I think last season, and Dallas realized, wait, we can't have two of these. So they traded him to Pittsburgh, and he was returning punts for Pittsburgh. Ryan Switzer, still around, Steeler.
It was a fun day yesterday. That the binge watching of football, man. We've missed it, right?
Yes.
Missed it, but this week one was the weirdest week one ever.
But football's got such an amazing ability because the teams are so evenly matched except for Buffalo. The
Jets play tonight. Wait to see.
They're legislating equality everywhere with forcing everyone to play by the same rules and same standards. And so you get out there on Sundays and almost inevitably, no matter how many different ways they try to ruin this sport, with 1,000 penalties, we still don't know now what roughing the passer is. We still don't know. We don't know. Like any time a quarterback winces, it's roughing the passer.
Oh, the Myles Garrett. This new putting your body weight on a quarterback
it's ridiculous. Rule. It's ridiculous. The way they change the rules for the quarterbacks as if they don't have to play football the way everyone else does is bleeping crazy, man.
They put that rule in place because of what happened with Anthony Barr and Aaron Rodgers last year, and you have all these rules in place to protect Aaron Rodgers. You can't have the 10 guys
who have valuable face in your league. You can't have them sitting on the sidelines because Andrew Luck, his shoulder gets screwed up by doctors. Like, you need all 10 of those guys to be doing the Papa John commercials.
And snowboarding. We found that out over the weekend. Andrew Luck's, this whole shoulder thing started with a snowboarding accident.
Pac-Man is a Bronco.
He's still in the league?
Yep. He's a Bronco.
How old is Pac-Man Jones?
Older than the actual game of Pac-Man.
How is Pac-Man Jones still in the league? I want, when you look at all those factors that I'm talking about there, Stugotz, when you look at the way they tried to destroy football, they tried to destroy football with concussion settlements, with all the things that are happening that annoy you, the 3-yard passes, Nick Foles winning on 34 passes for 117 yards.
Rules in place to protect Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers still goes to a tent, and you think he's lost for the season anyways.
But football has a magical ability because these teams are so evenly matched for that Browns comeback to happen yesterday. And then both teams spent the entire overtime pooping on the field. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Did the Steelers and Browns all go on the field in overtime and poop together throughout overtime on the field?
JPP is a buck.
Is he?
Yes.
What was that? What the hell was that, Ryan Fitzpatrick? Where did that come from?
You'll do that occasionally, man. I'm telling
crazy.
you, the Fitz magic comes out. Sometimes you throw 7 touchdowns for the Texans.
It's crazy. I don't understand. The Ryan Fitzpatrick experience is the most turbulent roller coaster of my sports lifetime. Because he will do that every once in a while. Because how long have you guys remember when we were having the conversations about who's got the best quarterback in the AFC East after Brady? And we were arguing, the Bills found a quarterback in Fitzpatrick. And you're like, no, the Jets have one in Sanchez.
Tavon Austin is a Cowboy, and they're inexplicably running their offense through him.
What? Get out of here.
Oh, the Cowboys' offense is constipated. Woo! They don't have – Des Bryant had to enjoy watching that game yesterday, right?
Oh, go to his Twitter account. He did. He did the Des Bryant thing that you would expect. Everybody went to his Twitter account post-game to see if he would say the things, and he said the things.
What are the things that were said? Just everything?
The Des Bryant things, man. It's white noise at this point. Well, it's not white, but...
You need the exact tweets? Or, you have a pretty good
okay.
idea what Des was doing, right?
Right. I mean, just enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell put out an emoji.
A monocle? He put out the monocle emoji.
Yeah, the monocle emoji. It's brown.
I mean, I don't even think about what we're trying to decode there. There's a tie game. The guy who backed him up, ran for a bunch of yards. He fumbled, but he ran for a bunch of yards. Terrible haircut.
Awful haircut.
Where did he come from? What's his college?
Oh, I believe he went to Pitt. He's a kid that battled through cancer.
Was he physically bigger before? Was he like a bruiser type of big back before? He looked smaller to me.
No, Pittsburgh had another one from one of those like Pennsylvania schools that was a backup that was a bigger set. But Connor's a guy that had cancer, and he overcame that, and now he's got a terrible haircut.
That's the guy who was a Hard Knock Jets, John Connor, the Terminator.
No, that's a fullback. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's out of the league, I think. Actually,
now it's making a little bit more sense. What you thought? You thought the Terminator was running for 140 yards.
I didn't know. You know what I thought? No, what I actually thought. I'm glad we're having this conversation on air. I was trying to think, and I'm like, I think I've seen that guy before at Boston College, but he was bigger. I thought Boston College. That's where my starting point thought. And then I never thought about it again. I didn't look it up on Google. I just came in here and asked you, and that's how all of that just happened.
John Connor is already a former NFL player.
Okay. So
I think you were thinking of Andre Williams, who is bigger, who played for the Giants, and I think is now out of the league.
No, Andre the Giant I'm not thinking of Andre the Giant.
But he played at Boston College.
I remember how excited you were when Andre the Giant had a good Monday night game and we had him on the next day. He was terrible.
No, that was Andre Brown, and that was a Thursday night game.
Wow.
No, it wasn't Andre Brown. Mike's wrong about that. It was Andre the Giant.
No, Andre the Giant was Andre Brown, and then I believe they drafted a couple of years later Andre Williams, the poetry-writing BC running back. Andre Brown actually came in studio, that Andre the Giant, and interned for us for a day.
What am I supposed to say about the Dolphins, Stugotz? We got a minute left before we start the national show. Just be excited that they're 1-0.
Yeah, just be excited. 1-0. They have the Jets coming up next week, and then the Raiders at home. I mean, the Dolphins are staring at a 3-0 start, man. This is exciting.
Chris Cody predicted a 6-1 start.
Then they lose the Final Four, though, so they got to get off to a good start if they want a shot. You guys all laughed. You all laughed. I said this.
I mean,
laughing.
You're gloating at 1-0 as if 6-1 is already here.
I wasn't impressed by them yesterday, but I called it.
It's a big win. It's a group match, and you just took it to the Titans. They have a loss that they have to overcome when you inevitably get to in the hunt tiebreakers.
No, that's great analysis, man. That's right. It's a big win because inevitably you're going to need